In section 6.1, we are going to be focusing on integers. Integers are the set of whole numbers and their opposites. It is important to note that integers do not include fractions and decimals. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a number line. The number line shows all of the numbers from least to greatest. So you're going to see that when you have a number line, a straight line like this, they're going to put arrows at the end of the number line that look like this. These arrows tell you that the number line goes on and on forever in both directions. Now in this situation, I'm going to put 0 at the center of my number line, but 0, because the number line goes forever and ever in both directions, 0 doesn't always have to be the center. When you look to the right on a number line, you put equal interval marks. So if I start and I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they all go by ones. I could have put a 5 here, but if I put a 5 here, then it has to go 10, 15, 20, 25. It has to go by fives. If I put a 10 there, it would have to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You have to have equal intervals when you make a number line. Then the numbers to the right of 0 on a number line, those are your positive numbers. They are numbers to the right. We call them positive integers. When you go to the left on the number line, those are your negative integers. You have to remember that the first negative integer right next to 0 is -1, and then -2, -3, -4, -5. Same thing happens here. If I go by fives, this has to be by fives as well, as I'm showing right here. If I go by tens, it would have to be -10, -20, -30. If I went by twos, it would have to be -2, -4, -6, -8. You have to use equal intervals when you write in a number line. So then, like I said, the left side of 0, those are your negative integers. So now if I asked you to plot a number on the number line, I would ask you, what you have to do is you just have to put a point on that spot. So if I say I want you to plot the number 3, what you do is you go to the number 3 and you put a dot on it. So I've just plotted number 3. Now another thing we need to learn about is opposites. So the opposite of 3, knowing that 3 is 3 spaces away from 0, the opposite of 3 also has to be 3 spaces away from 0. So 3 and its opposite are -3. These two numbers are opposites. Lastly, when we're looking at the number line, we have to think about the number 0. 0's in the middle here. It is still considered an integer, but it is neither negative nor positive. So you're going to be asked to graph integers and their opposites. So if I say to you, graph negative 12, and its opposite. So let's start by graphing negative 12. If I draw my number line, I put my arrows on the end, I can put 0 in the middle, and because I'm graphing a number and its opposite, it's a good idea to put 0 in the middle, just because you know that you have to go to negative 12 to the left of 0, and then the opposite, which is positive 12, to the right of 0. Now, instead of putting 12 separate hash marks going to the left of 0, what I can do is I can find a number that I know is a factor of 12. So I could go by 2's, and I could do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I could go by 3's. I could go by 4's. I could go by 6's. So let's go by 4's. If I say this is negative 4, negative 8, negative 12, I see that those are equal intervals going all the way to 12. Then to find its opposite, I would have to do positive 4, positive 8, and positive 12. So now if I were to graph both of them, I would plot a point at negative 12 and its opposite, which is positive 12. Both of these numbers are 12 spaces away from 0. So you should be able to do this with large numbers and small numbers. Say, for example, I want you to do the opposite of 100. You could go by 10s, you could go by 25s. You just have to make sure you use equal intervals. Please make sure to get that written in your notes, and we will move on to our last type of problem. The next thing we're going to talk about is writing positive and negative integers. You need to look for key words in the situation that will tell you if it represents a positive or a negative number. For example, if you get a statement that says you withdraw $42 from an account, you need to understand that the word withdraw means you are taking money out. When you take money out of an account, your balance gets lower. Therefore, it is a negative amount. It's below 0 on a number line. So withdrawing $42 from an account would be negative 42. If you find that you receive 5 bonus points in class, you need to realize that bonus points are added to your score. That makes it a positive number. There's 2 ways to write a positive number. You could write it as positive 5 or plus 5, or positive numbers don't need to really have the plus in front of it, so you could just say 5. Okay, so now that you have these notes written down, you can go through the practice problems and finish with your CYP. Thank you.